Good morning, beautiful humans. Welcome to this cooling flow. I'm doing this sequence of poses after a workout, so really nice just for cooling the body down, stretching out the muscles, bringing some equilibrium, some balance back into the body physically and energetically. So for this practice, you'll need your yoga mat, perhaps your yoga block and a bolster if you have them, and something you can use as a strap. You don't necessarily need the bolster and the block. You can do this first exercise seated. You could also do it just lying down on the ground, lying flat. So pulling the strap taut, you want to have your hands so that the palms are facing towards one another, as if you were trying to break the strap. So imagine that was a stick and you're trying to break it in half. So you don't want your hands angling out in all different directions. Try and turn the palms towards one another. Same with your elbows. If you're hypermobile through your elbows, just check that the inside of your elbows are pointing towards one another. And with your knee position, I had my knees together before with my feet as wide as my mat, and now I'm bringing my feet together and letting my knees fall out to the side, and just bringing your right hand onto your belly now, your left hand over your heart center. We'll just take a few breaths here, drawing your breath down into your belly, up into your diaphragm and into your lungs. And you can do this if you're seated or if you're lying flat on your back as well. And just breathe, relaxing the space between your eyebrows. Give your jaw a little wriggle. Help your knees together, coming off to one side and coming up to seated. Just moving your props to one side. Keep them handy in case you need them again. I'm also using a blanket in this practice because we're on our knees for quite a lot. So I was sitting on a blanket to begin with. Bring your knees on top if you need a bit more support, a bit more cushioning, and moving through some cat-cows. So wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, tops of your feet relaxed onto the mat. Exhale as you curl up, inhale as you lower the belly down. And this is day 5 of yoga practice. I think the only day I didn't practice was Sunday. And I'm certainly feeling a lot more comfortable in my body, I must say. Things feel a bit less clunky. So exhale, curling round, tuck the tailbone. Inhale, lower the belly, draw the shoulders back and down, nice wide collarbones. Exhale, curling round, opening up through the back of your body. Inhale, creating space. And if your neck is good, you can start to lift your gaze. If it's not, just keep your focus on the ground or a few feet in front of you. Keep the neck nice and long. Moving side to side now. So drawing the belly button towards the backbone. As you exhale, looking towards the left hip. Inhale back through center. And as you exhale, looking towards the right hip. Keeping your hips above your knees, so don't let them fall off to one side. We're not doing that today. We're just getting some mobility through the spine. And nice big barrel rolls now. I love this movement. It can feel a bit odd to begin with because when do we really move like this except for salsa dancing? And we do about 5 in one direction. Close your eyes. Trace the outside of a clock or trace the outside of a circle in one direction and then in the other. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky to send that message to your body. So give yourself time to learn these moves. Give your body time to connect all those dots. And come back to center now. Coming into thread the needle, lifting the right arm up towards the sky. Exhale, thread the right arm behind the left. And just adjust as you come down here. Try and get your spine in a nice straight line. Head, shoulder, hips. Take the left leg out behind. Keep the foot on the ground. Option to take a bind here. The left arm lifts up towards the sky. Draw it behind you. Tuck it just in front of your right hip. And breathe. Start to bring some balance here. If you want, you can lift your left leg, press out through the heel, or point the toe like a ballerina. Sometimes this can feel a bit nervy, so pressing out through the heel can remove that nervy stretch. Lift the left arm up, press it down into the mat, and lifting the right arm towards the sky. Come back to center. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, thread left arm behind your right hand, and settling the left side of your face down onto the mat. Take your time here, make adjustments. You want to feel stable before we start to then lift limbs up off the ground and lessen that base of stability. When you're ready, pressing the right leg out behind, again pressing through that heel, lift the right arm up towards the sky, and as you exhale, draw it behind, tuck it just in front of the left hip, and breathe. When you're feeling balanced, you can start to lift the right leg or stay with the foot on the ground. Listen to your body. This side for me is always way more wobbly. Keep the belly drawn to the backbone, and exhaling the leg down, lift the right arm up towards the sky and lifting up, finishing left arm to the sky. Come back to tabletop. When you're ready, tuck the toes, exhale, press back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Come forward into your high plank, knees onto the ground or in your high plank. And this is here where you can adjust your chaturanga, your plank position. So you want to be in that full plank position, either on your toes or on your knees, wrists underneath your shoulders, on the balls of your feet. And that gives you your length for your down dog, your measuring for your down dog. A couple of rolls here. So practicing tucking the chin and rolling back through the body like the worm, the yoga worm. So roll forward into your high plank. Remember, you can bring your knees onto the ground as well. Onto the toes, and try and roll it forward through your body. Coming onto the knees, chest and chin come onto the floor, and slide through for Bhujangasana. And separate the heels, press back, downward facing dog. And breathe. Chin to your chest. Come forward onto your knees now. Bring your knees onto the blanket if you've got one there, if you need it. Some shoulder flossing, some shoulder mobility here. So keep the belly button drawn towards the spine. The only thing that's moving here is your chest up and down between your shoulders. So you can see how my shoulders are looking all sorts of weird. So I'm keeping the arms nice and long and pressing the middle of my back up towards the sky. Looking between the hands or a feet or two in front of your mat as you do that. It's a tricky one, so take your time, practice. Again, your body's connecting lots of neurological dots, trying to work out what you're asking. So if it takes a few tries, keep going. Heart melting pose, one of my favorite poses. And you want to try and get your hip bones, your hips directly over your knees. So see how mine is slightly in front? That just comes from practice. Feeling that balance, stability. The weight from your hips should be going straight down through your knees, coming forward into Sphinx. Palms can face down or up towards the sky. Nice wide collarbones as we go into a shoulder opener now. Taking the right arm out to the side, 90 degrees. Slowly rolling yourself over onto your right side. Use the left hand here to press into the ground. Being gentle with your shoulder. Let your head rest onto the mat. Coming through to the second side. So left arm out to the side, 90 degrees. Using the right hand to press down gently into the mat, letting your head rest on the ground and lifting the top leg. So bend through the top leg knee, rest the foot on the ground if that's available to you. And And again, breathing into the belly. Quite often we hold the breath when things are tight in the body. So once you're in position, straight to the breath. Press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg high and bend the knee, open up through your hip. Try and keep the right shoulder pressing down towards the mat. It has a tendency to lift. Step the right foot behind the right wrist, lifting up into a low lunge. Now you might want to have your back knee on the blanket for this one. So inhale, sweeps the arms up. Exhale, draws the hips back. Lift your chest forward and stretching the hamstring in that one. So low lunge through half hanuman, half splits. And press the left hand down into the mat. Lift the right arm up and stay here. If that's available to you, you can take it a bit further. Bend the back knee, reach back, catch hold of the back foot. If you can't quite catch the foot, you can use a strap. Downward facing dog. Rolling forward into your high plank, pressing back, downward facing dog, lifting the left leg, bend the knee, open up through the hip, press the left shoulder down towards the mat, don't let it lift up. Exhale, step behind the left wrist. Inhale, low lunge, arms sweep up. Exhale, hips come back, hands either side of the front knee. Inhale. And exhale, you notice my hands come forward with each movement here. So we have 3 repetitions. And with each half hanuman, half splits, I'm bringing my hands a bit further forward. Just challenging balance, coordination, and deepening that stretch. Inhale, come forward. Kickstand with your right hand and lifting the left arm up and back. If you can't catch hold of the foot, you could use a strap as well. Just be careful with that back knee. Again, this can be a lot, so listen to your body. Press back, downward facing dog. Exhale, bring the knees down onto the mat and press back into child's pose. So knees as wide as your mat, big toes touch, arms out in front. Relax through the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. Walk your hands across to the left side and enjoy that right side body stretch. Come back through center, come across to the right, pressing the left hand down on top of the right, enjoying that left body side stretch. And come back to center, deepening now through the shoulders and the tricep. Bring the hands behind your head. And you want to walk your shoulders forward and together. And with your hands, just pressing the palms together, you can take a couple of different variations with your hands. Up to you. Lifting up. The storm was starting to roll in here, so I was just watching what was going on. And tucking the toes. So notice I've got my toes tucked under, sitting back on the heels. This may not be available to you. And just finishing here, take a few breaths, or maybe you come into Shavasana. Thank you, yogis. Have a wonderful day.